Welcome, ZASLOW Show 2.0. It is a Wednesday, the 26th of June. Good to have you aboard, part of the Believe Podcast Network, and presented as always by Anidjar and Levine, accident attorneys, huge sports fans. They're so happy over the Panthers being Stanley Cup champions. If you're involved in any kind of an accident, first you call 911, then you call my title sponsor of everything ZASLOW Show 2.0. Best accident attorneys in the land. Anidjar and Levine, accident attorneys. 800-747-FREE. 800-747-3733. And even though basketball's over, even though hockey is over, Bet Online, still your number one source for all your summer sports betting needs. Baseball, golf, soccer, UFC, MMA, every stat, every matchup, even live odds and spreads while the games are being played. When the game's over, head on over to Bet Online's online casino, get into some poker, some blackjack. What about slot games? They have over 150 of them. Head to the website today, get in on the action, use promo code BELIEVE, that's BLEAV, for your 50% welcome bonus on your first deposit. Bet Online, the game starts here. So, I'm sure I'm probably like all of you guys. I'm riding high, still riding high off the Florida Panthers, your favorite little hockey team, the greatest hockey team in the land, winning the Stanley Cup a couple days ago. It's extra true now when I call them the greatest hockey team in the land. So your Florida Panthers now, we're talking 2 mornings. We have woken up 2 mornings now, and the Panthers are Stanley Cup champions. And I'm probably just like you guys. I can't get enough of all the videos that are circulating, everyone's celebrating. I love everyone's videos that they record themselves when they're watching the final seconds count down. But how about all the videos coming out of Fort Lauderdale Beach yesterday? We know the Kachuk family, they were at Elbow Room. You had a bunch of guys who joined them. They're swimming in the Atlantic Ocean with the Stanley Cup. And my favorite part, we've never seen this before. Have you ever seen one of our teams where they take to the streets, they take the trophy with them, and they celebrate with us? They celebrate with you, with the fans, with no security there keeping people away, no roped off room or area or table in the club where you can't come and hang out with them. There's the Florida Panthers, your Stanley Cup champions. They're celebrating with us on the beach, in the bars, just having a great time. Everyone is included. And this is important because why is this important? I was a little bit worried, and I think I brought this up on Levitard's show yesterday, a little bit worried about the parade participation. Now, the parade is Sunday, all right? Why are there so many days? Well, the NHL draft is in Vegas on Friday. So, the team needs to be there. The executives and the coach, they need to be there. So they'll finish the draft and then, I guess, fly back. Because I think the draft carries over to Saturday, so they'll fly back like a red-eye. I mean, charter flight, but they'll do red-eye Saturday night, and then you got the parade on Sunday. So the parade is in downtown Fort Lauderdale. And they'll do a whole parade, and then they'll have a whole stage set up and everything. And I was a little bit worried about what is the parade going to look like? What is the participation going to look like? But seeing all the people that joined the team, it was the whole team, it was a few players, but they had the cup. Joining the team on Fort Lauderdale Beach at Elbow Room in the beach when you got word, everyone said, oh my God, come down here to the beach. The Panthers are here. And you're getting word on social media. Seeing how everyone flocked down there and is having such a great time. And like I said, when have we ever seen our team do this where we're all incorporated, we're all involved? I think there's a lot of love for this Florida Panther team right now and the way that they're celebrating these last couple of days that I feel better now. Now, is our parade going to look like what the Boston Celtics parade looked like last week? No, that's not normal. That's not the way it goes here. We don't get that many people, although you go back and you remember the 2006 parade that the Miami Heat did. Oh, my God, it was batshit. There were so many. It was over 100,000 people. There were so many people. But Our parade's not going to look like that, and it's hockey. I mean, it's hockey in South Florida, but seeing the reaction around the team yesterday, I think we're going to get a great crowd. I think it's going to be really good. So I was a little bit worried about that. I'm not as concerned about it anymore. Now, am I going to go? My younger son already asked me about it. I don't think so. Well, yeah, I'm working in the morning. I'm doing Sunday morning, and the parade, I think, starts at like 11 a.m. So, no, I'm not going to make it because that's the kind of thing you got to get out there early. The traffic's going to be a bastard. So, I'm not going to go, and that's okay. It's not really my thing. I don't need to go, but I will watch it on television, and that'll be just fine. But I'm probably just like you guys, where I love seeing all the videos. Like this morning, my friend Andrea Ocampo, who she's got a production company now, but you may remember she was the Florida Panthers in-house arena girl where she would go on the microphone and talk to fans throughout the game and do the whole deal. She did that for the Panthers for years, but we're going back like a decade. Also, Andrea went by Andrea DeMarco in WWE. She was a ring announcer and backstage reporter for NXT. And so she posted a video, I guess it was yesterday, but I just saw it this morning, and she's got her Panther jersey on, and she and her boyfriend, her husband, and they're filming themselves with the camera on the ground of the closing seconds. You can hear Sean McDonough counting down the seconds. What a great final call. I'll get to that in a second. And she's so nervous, and she begins crying with about 10 seconds left, and she can't hold in the emotion. And so I really go, Andrea, I love this. I love this video. And she wrote back, I know, but like it was such an ugly cry, but I had to post it. I go, are you crazy? It's the most beautiful cry. I love seeing all the videos of everyone so happy. I can't get enough of it. And I feel like each day now, yesterday and now today, I'm noticing or I'm seeing new things about all the videos and the aftermath of them winning on the ice. And then after, there's just so much good content out there. There's so much good footage and video and material. So I can't get enough of it. I'm still riding super high about it. Now, yesterday, again, I was on the car wash on ESPN radio. If you don't know what the car wash is when ESPN sends you to every show. You're on Get Up, and then you're on First Take, and then you're on NBA Today, and you're doing all the shows. That's the car wash. And I've been doing the car wash like a week now because I'm the Panther fan. Like, who else there knows a Panther fan? I'm the Panther fan. So it's been fantastic that I've been able to play that role. I love it so much. So I think it's over now. It's been a really good run. I'll go back into obscurity now. Although today I'm doing, like I told you earlier this week, me and Top Girl Amber Wilson, we're doing Freddie and Harry again today from 3 to 7 p.m. Eastern. I'm doing Carlin versus Joe tomorrow, which is noon to 3. And then Friday, closing out the week, doing Freddie and Harry from 3 to 7, me and Freddie Coleman, all right? But hang out with me and Amber again today. That's going to be a lot of fun. We're going to take you right up to the NBA draft. Yeah, there's big NBA news, all right? We got some NBA stuff to cover. So we're going to have a lot of fun today. Now, yesterday on Freddie and Harry with Amber Wilson, we had Sean McDonough on the show, which was a thrill. He had the call for every game of the Stanley Cup Final, ESPN on ABC, NHL on ABC. And so we were able, that's a good get. We had Sean McDonough. He was doing the phone with us from the beach. He was sitting on Fort Lauderdale Beach doing it. And so, he was sick throughout the series. He was really sick, like congestion or some type of problem he had, and he was really sick and he was fighting through it. And certainly the travel, Fort Lauderdale, Edmonton, that it doesn't help. And so people were very critical of him throughout the series. And he was hurt by that. Now, this isn't him telling us that yesterday. This has been a known thing for like a week now. He was hurt by that. He was upset by that. This is a guy, 62 years old, from the very famous McDonough broadcasting lineage, and he has had a great career, and he's a better broadcaster than that. And he's been upset that people have been so critical because he's fighting through it. Well, anyway, he was clearly much better going into the final 2 games, but definitely game 7. And he had a fantastic final call. Oh, I thought it was a phenomenal final call. I loved it. It was the final call, and I told him this yesterday on the show, that as a Panther fan, I want to thank you. It's the first thing I said to him. I go, I want to thank you. You were phenomenal the whole game, and you had a fantastic final call, which is really important to me as a Panther fan, and it's really important to Panther fans because we dream about this moment, and we've been waiting for 30 years, and it's a really big deal, a great final call while I'm watching. It lends itself to the moment, and I told him, you were fantastic, and thank you. I'm so grateful for what a great job you did with that call down the stretch, and he was very appreciative of that. But forget about that part. I had to tell him that as a Panther fan, and Panther fans alike who are watching, you probably feel the same way. So I had to tell him that. I wanted to make sure he knew that. And he was very appreciative, which was very, very cool. Now, the other side of it, which is the Panthers radio call. All right. So Billy Lindsay, Doug Plagans and Billy Lindsay for years now have been doing the call for the Panthers radio. And Doug Plagans is excellent. I think he's very good. Doug's been doing it for, 6 or 7 years now, maybe. And Billy was the radio analyst when I was on the Panthers radio. That's right. I was their studio host. I was there with them in the booth for all the home games. The same thing I did for 12 seasons of the Heat, I did for 2 years with the Florida Panthers, 2009 and 2010. Team sucked. I mean, that's the way it was. Randy Moeller was the play-by-play. Billy Lindsay was the color analyst. So Billy's been between radio and TV and back to radio for the last 15 years, all right? He's an original Florida Panther, inaugural season. He was on the 96 team. He had a long career, spent most of it with the Florida Panthers, loves the organization, loves the Panthers, and he's a friend of mine, all right? Like, we became friends when we were working together those 2 years, and he's a great dude, just the sweetest guy, and also is a very emotional guy. He is. It means so much to him, that Stanley Cup, especially if you never won it as a player. It means you saw Roberto Luongo, what it meant to him when he's a special assistant to the general manager. He is now a Stanley Cup champion, not as a player, but with the organization. And while that may not be the number one thing that you want, it's still really special. So Roberto's now a Stanley Cup champion. And the same thing with Billy Lindsay. He gets to touch the Stanley Cup now. And he's going to get a championship ring. And he is now part of a Stanley Cup champion team as a broadcaster. Hey, I'm a 2-time champion broadcaster. You guys know that. I got 2 beautiful championship rings from the Miami Heat 2012, 2013. And anyway, so the final call is really important when you're winning a championship. Hell, it's really important to an individual game. Think about it with a championship, let alone the Stanley Cup championship. Let me take a sip of my vitamin water for a second. Hang on a moment. So anyway, the final call, it's counting down, and then time runs out, and Billy is beside himself, ecstatic. Emotions are out of control. And like, he's screaming, he's screaming over Doug Plagans, and so it lends itself to a unique final call where you have a Panther great. I mean, look, it's right over my shoulder, right here. That right there, the goal, that diagram, that box score, not box score, but, that diagram right there over my shoulder there, 1996, Billy Lindsay, round 1, past Raymond Bourque, game-winning goal, first ever Panthers series victory. That's the goal. Billy Lindsay, legend, all right? Which, of course, now I drop down to, now it's, I haven't put it together yet. It got dropped down to third, okay, behind Carter Verhaeghe, Game 7 at Boston last year, and Matthew Tkachuk, Game 4 against Carolina last year. It got dropped down to 3. I could tell you, and Billy said it's okay that it dropped down, but I could tell you, Sam Reinhart's Stanley Cup winning goal, it's now number 1. I mean, that's the biggest goal in Florida Panther history now. So at least Billy's goal is now dropped down to 4, but that's okay. Anyway, so Billy's gotten a lot of crap, a little bit on social media, like Awful Announcing picked it up, and you got those fucking assholes in Boston. What a miserable fucking sports radio scene it is there in Boston. One of the producers, not even one of the main guys, I think it was on the Greg Hill show. I think that's mornings on WEEI. The producer, some set of balls on this piece of shit. The producer, he chimes in, can we rip this guy for a second? And then they play Billy's call and they go on to crush him, And just that right there, the whole, not even just can we be critical, because I'm critical of people all the time, but the idea of can we rip this guy for a moment here? It's such a nasty sports radio scene. It's the lowest form of sports radio, Boston sports radio. They're miserable pricks, all of them. It's a miserable business in Boston sports radio. What a miserable scene. It's so nasty. I hate them. So anyway, miserable fucking scene there in Boston. So anyway, obviously all of it's gotten back to Billy. And so Billy sent out, and by the way, like I told you, I know Billy. He is an emotional guy, very emotional. So any Panther fan who knows that, and certainly the organization, there should be no surprise that that was what the final call turned into, because he's been part of this organization forever from day one, and he's now a Stanley Cup champion, not as a player, but he is now a Stanley Cup champion. And it shows you how much it means to hockey people and hockey players that they win that Stanley Cup. And that's what bled through the airwaves on the radio final call. So it is what it is. But like I told you, Billy is a very emotional guy. And there should be no surprise that that was the reaction, whether you agree with it or not. So Billy sent out a series of tweets earlier today. And the first one, Game 7, my nerves are almost uncontrollable. By the way, you may be listening right now, Zaslow, why aren't you playing the clip? It's from my old radio station. I don't know if I'm allowed to play that. I don't really feel like getting into that mess. You know what I'm saying? So here we go. And this is a string of 4 consecutive tweets from Billy earlier today. Game 7, my nerves are almost uncontrollable. The cup to the winner, but so much more. It's either going to be the greatest euphoria or the biggest collapse in NHL history, black or white. Since I was 5 years old, dreaming of a day to be part of a team that wins the cup. This is huge. 2, pushing back the thoughts of the devastation of a loss is hard. How do we ever recover from that? We win, the Panthers are etched into lore forever. Dreams come true. The game you are living and dying on every second. You can't describe the sensations, but you feel alive. 3, you are lost in the moment, and that is the most alive you can ever feel. It's the best. The game ends. The radio call is not scripted. No idea how I would react. Was it a great call? Probably not. I never knew what I would feel or how I would react. It just poured out. 4, good or bad, the elation of that moment is indescribable. When you wait your whole life for something and the dream is a reality, every atom, cell in your body releases adrenaline you have never felt. You're lost in the moment. Stanley Cup champions. I don't think Billy has anything to apologize for. Like I said, if you're a Panther fan and you've been listening to Billy for a long time, and certainly if you're the organization, there is no reason to have not expected that to be the reaction from Billy. He is who he is, and it's a good thing. He loves the Panthers, and this is their life, these hockey people, these hockey lifers. And the moment was enormous. And so Billy's got nothing to apologize for. There you go. And fuck Boston. So let's do a little bit more here on the Panthers, and then we'll continue on with, we'll do some NBA. By the way, like I said, again, 3 to 7 today. I'm on ESPN Radio with Top Girl Amber Wilson. So last night, oh, but yeah, let me tell you about some of our sponsors here first. Come on, what am I doing? All right. You guys know, you want to talk about huge Panther fans. That's why I love my sponsors. And my sponsors are local, so they tend to be fans of the local sports teams. And if you're thinking about if you're getting a new home, or maybe you have a home and you're paying so much money for your insurance. Insurance is very expensive in Florida. I send you to Brunt Insurance. I've been getting my homeowner's insurance from Brunt Insurance for over a decade now. Zaslow, why do you keep going back to the same place? Well, obviously, not only am I getting a great rate, but I also know that I have the most comprehensive coverage around. God forbid something happens to my home, I'm taken care of. And that's because I use Greg Brunt and his team at Brunt Insurance. Give them a call today. Get a quote. Get a free quote. See if it's lower than what you're currently paying. I have a suspicion it's going to be. 954-589-2204, bruntinsurance.com. And ZASLOW Show 2.0's got listeners all throughout the state. So wherever you're listening, from Pensacola all the way down to the Keys, Brunt Insurance has you covered. They know your neighborhood because they have offices all throughout the state. Now, maybe you're looking for affordable care that offers the best coverage on your car, your motorcycle, your boat. Just a few months ago, I switched getting my auto insurance through Brunt Insurance now. Very happy. Call Brunt Insurance. You're making the right call. 954-589-2204. 954-589-2204. bruntinsurance.com. All right. So, do a little bit more Panthers here, then we'll get to the NBA stuff. I have an interesting situation here, and I need a little bit of help. So, if you can always tweet at me at ZASLOW Show. Love when you guys get at me. You can also always hit me up on Instagram, where I'm an influencer. Everybody knows that. And I need a little bit of help. So, if you watched the Levine show yesterday, you saw I was wearing my Panther jersey. It's a little bit of an older Panther jersey. It's the jersey they wore between 2011 and 2016. The home jersey between 2011 and 2016. It's got the old logo in front of it. I love it. So the team gave it to me. And you know what? The teams down here, Panthers, Heat, Marlins, not the Dolphins. Panthers, Heat, Marlins, they used to send me jerseys all the time. Whenever they would make a change to a jersey, or with the Heat, like the new version of that year, they would send me a jersey so I could promote it, of course. That's what they do with the radio stations. It's really nice. But they almost always put my name on it. Like, they'll say, we're going to give you a jersey with your name. What number do you want? And I tell them the number, whatever. And I'm really fortunate that they do that. But the fact that they put my name on the back of it also guarantees I will never wear it. I mean, I'm an adult, but I didn't play so it ends up being a keepsake. It hangs in my closet, and I like it a lot. But I'm never going to wear it because I didn't play for the team. I didn't play for the Heat. I didn't play for the Marlins. I'm not wearing a jersey with my name on it. I think that's really lame if you're an adult, for sure. So the Panthers, I like it. They sent me this jersey whenever it was, 10 plus years ago. Just a plain jersey. No number, no name. So I could wear it if I want. Now, I don't wear it very much, but I can wear it if I want. And I wore it to the Levine show yesterday. Great. Well, that jersey doesn't have a name. It's not a player jersey. I want to put a name on it. So there's so many stores you can go to, like CanesWear, sponsor, big deal, not a big deal. Get all your new Florida Panther gear, Stanley Cup Champion gear, CanesWear. We'll talk about them coming up. But you could take it to one of these stores where they will personalize it for you. They can make the jersey for you. Now, usually it's because you're buying the jersey there and you get it personalized. Well, I'm going to bring in my jersey. How much do you want for me to put a name on the back? I will pay for it, okay? So I want to do that now. I want to put a name on the jersey. But what I want to do is, I don't want to just put any name. I don't want to put a name from the 96 team. I don't want to necessarily put a name from this team because it doesn't belong on that style jersey. That jersey was worn between 2011 and 2016. So I need a player who was on one of those teams. So I've narrowed it down to 3 names. And I need a little bit of help here. So if you want to tweet at me or hit me up on social media at ZASLOW Show, I've narrowed it down to 3 names of guys who played on those teams. Now, I've also narrowed it down to guys who have played on those teams who are also on this team. All right. Like, for instance, I'm not going to, I love Gus Forsling. I love Brandon Montour. I'm not going to, I always gravitate toward the defensemen. I think the defensemen are so cool, but I'm not going to put them on the jersey because they never wore that jersey. That's not authentic, So I've narrowed it down to 3 guys: Alexander Barkov, Aaron Ekblad, and this is the one that I'm leaning heavily toward, Dmitry Kulikov. Yep, that's right. Kulikov. Oh, Zaz, what are you talking about? This is first year on the team. No, the Panthers drafted Kulikov way back then. He was on those teams. Then they traded him away. He's been on several teams since then, and now he's back. So I'm leaning heavily toward Dmitry Kulikov because he engineered the biggest play in the history of the Florida Panthers. His play won them the Stanley Cup. When the puck was loose in the crease in the second period, and right before falling into the net, Kulikov slaps the puck out of the crease. He tumbles all into the net, and it leads to the blue line to blue line rush from Sam Reinhart, who scores what would be the Stanley Cup winning goal. It was the play of the night. That's the moment that I knew we're going to win the Stanley Cup. We're winning this game. So 3 options to put on the back of that jersey. Barkov, who was not the captain at the time, so I would not get the C, all right? Barkov, Ekblad, Kulikov. I think I'm going Dmitry Kulikov. So I'm going to get that done soon. I'm really looking forward to that. All right. Anything else, Panthers here? Just the whole thing yesterday was so cool. Just such a cool scene. Celebrating with the people, celebrating with fans. And now this franchise is golden after 30 years. And this was already the golden era, these last few years of Panther hockey. The franchise now, finally, after 30 years, they're going to take off in the market. This is how you capture a generation of fans forever. Every kid who just watched what happened with the Panthers is now a Panther fan for the rest of their life. And they pass that on to their children. That's why the Miami Heat are always golden. They're always going to be golden because when they won in 2006, that's it. You got them. You hooked them in. That's forever. And that now just happened to the Panthers. So it's so fantastic. Yeah, that's what I got for you on everyone's favorite little hockey team. The greatest hockey team in the land. 2 mornings now, we wake up, and they're your Stanley Cup champions. Oh, my God.